We're smooth 98.1 FM. Good morning and welcome to Freshly Pressed. It is time to pick up the newspaper headlines from the local scene and then get the analysts to get to break it down. And most importantly, to also get you react on the headlines, how they make you feel, what you think about it is also crucial to this conversation. Freshly Pressed on Smooth 98.1 FM. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. Let's remind you, you can be part of this conversation by sending in your WhatsApp messages to 0809 4440981. For those at the back now, 0809 4440981 would be where you can send WhatsApp messages to. Having said that, I say big good morning to Oyeyemi Aderibigbe. Good morning.
Good morning, Omas. Good morning, Lagos.
And well, just before we get started, I just know that at some point, I know some persons will begin to send messages that resonates with Tiwa in the building for news. But just to put it out there, Oyeyemi Aderibigbe is who we're having here this morning. So let's pick up the papers now. From the Nation newspaper is what you're looking at first for us this morning. And that is coming in and it says that President Tinubu is expresses concern about the brain drain syndrome of medical professionals and is not happy about it. And since you've looked at the story, is this new, and what's new approach is the government willing to take to stem this tide?
So the special advisor to the president on public health matters, Salma Anas, is the one speaking on behalf of the president in the story. And to say the least, it's an obvious issue. Even, our tertiary healthcare is challenged at the moment, to talk less of our primary healthcare. And it's an end-to-end crisis. There's a crisis of infrastructure, unavailability of infrastructure. There's also the crisis of personnel. And I think what's aggravating the situation is the crisis of personnel, because a lot of the skilled personnel are exiting. And there are different reasons for their exit. It's a combination of economic imbalance, where locally there is no opportunity to grow their expertise because of the failure of the system, and also the inability to fend for them and provide themselves with basic needs. And then when they flip the script and just relocate to some other country, not even Western countries, there's a better opportunity, both from a professional growth perspective and also economic power. It would be foolish for anybody, and we have to be honest, to see opportunity like it presents itself today, because in a lot of the Western countries, there's a lack of personnel, capable personnel, and so they're fetching, right? And it would be foolish for someone on this end to see that opportunity and say, oh, I'm not going because, I have a duty to country. Now, a duty to country will always be wherever you are, here or out there. But our leadership has to come to, that point where we're going to have to stop the bleeding. And I don't think it's effective. There are different options that have come up. We've heard when laws have been tried to use to prevent people from traveling. We've heard suggestions along the lines of using education. So if you're schooling in Nigeria, then you are bound to practice here. I don't think those are helpful tools. I think in situations like this, you have to prioritize. So it's possible that you have to maybe put some very, very extreme, quote unquote, incentives, that can make certain people say, okay, you know what, I can stay here with this. At least I get a life, I get an opportunity. And this is a short-term to mid-term solution. In terms of a long-term solution, we know what it is: an economic responsibility on the part of the respective governments and critical investment into that industry, right? Because what's happening now is that a lot of quacks are thriving. a lot of quacks are thriving. I mean, the story also talks about government action to stem, the tide of quacks. They closed laboratories, they closed certain fake hospitals. But it's the absence of value that creates opportunity for the black market. So we must address it with responsibility. We can no longer play games or just patch it up. It's time to, stop the bleeding and let's move into proper long-lasting solutions.
All right, thank you very much, Aderibigbe, for that. But again, I like the fact you raised globalization as a major point now. That means you mustn't be restricted because opportunities are everywhere. But that connects me to, I don't see as much lawyers. It doesn't seem like there's an emergency of lawyers who don't need to go abroad compared to, why is it that it is in the medical field we see this as affecting the country more? Don't lawyers want to go abroad, or other professionals?
So there are different factors. There's a need. I believe the numbers that we've recorded earlier in the year is about 13,000 professionals, right? In 1 year, right? Between some mid last year and now, right? And that's a lot. So one system losing 13,000 professionals is crazy. But I think it's because of the need, right? Our people are capable, our nurses are capable. With just augmented training, they're able to plug into the advanced systems, right? I think it's a lack of data for many of the other sectors. I'm sure if we looked at it, we would find, comparable exits as well. But in the medical profession, it's actually because of the need, and also because, to be honest, there's really not much. A doctor goes through what, 8 to 9 years of education
A
to earn
lawyer goes through as
50,000.
much too.
I'm just saying, to earn
Mhm.
50,000. That's terrible. At the highest level of competence, the earning is still not, it's nothing to take them home. So you can understand what the complexities are. And I believe that's really what it is. It's the
Okay,
demand.
Aderibigbe, let's move away from that now. Let's hope that medical doctors would see reason to put country first and be patriotic. But let's take us to court. This next item here takes us to court, and some issues going on there that the judge is unhappy about, and Milord is speaking about it. And I would like you to help us understand, when a judge gets to this point where he voices out or she voices out, will the gavel come down? But let's hear what the headline here is speaking about. It's telling us here, stop leaving charms in my court. That's a judge warning now. So it seemed like this judge can be moved by voodoo. Is this what he's saying? Talk to us about this.
First, I wonder why this is a news story, but it is what it is, right? So this is Justice Hakeem Oshodi of the Ikeja High Court, who's warning members of the public to stop leaving talisman and, objects of their faith. Let's just call it that, in the courtroom. Uh, I think this speaks to what the people believe. It speaks to all other associated issues. It speaks to a lack of faith in the justice system. Because if people believed that they were getting justice, or maybe if people had faith in the justice system outside all these extraneous issues, then they wouldn't even attempt, right? If you know that when you go to court, it is A, B, C, D, E, and you get what it is, you get your punishment or you get your justice, then people would accept it and move on. But because justice is seen to be late, the system is not as efficient, there's drama, there is also the fact that they believe that people can be turned around. And also, it also shows the level of engagement, that the people are also having. Educated people could be involved in that, but a lot of people who would be so frontal about that would also be people who may not necessarily have a good understanding of how justice works. And that's why they're doing that. So there are three social issues, I think, that can help us with this. First, we need to expedite how our justice delivery works. And this is across board. I mean, I there's so many aspects that are ailing, but essentially we must prioritize that so that people can have faith in the system and begin to just, align. Secondly, education is key, right? If you know the court is not the place for the talisman. That's not the location. That's not where it's supposed to be. So even if you're educated and uneducated, if you're exposed, you know that that's not where it's supposed to be. So you will do what you need to do. You face the music in the court as it should be. And if you have your faith or your own engagement, you engage yourself in private and not bring it in public that way. And I think the third thing is really just getting people to have a sense of faith. Our leaders need to do more to give. There's a lot of despondency and loss of hope. Our leaders need to do more to encourage people, so that they become participators in, the government, in its initiatives and how we're going. So I think that's the summary of the story,
Okay.
essentially.
In essence, but let's get this home a bit now before we let the story rest. Do you tell your clients to pray when you represent them? Let's even forget
Do
about the
I tell my
talisman.
clients
Do you tell your clients to pray, or do you pray before you go to court, even to say, today, may Lord favor me?
prayer is a personal aspect of anything that I do professionally, right? The
Yeah.
delivery of a professional service, the delivery or that public engagement between the court and the people has nothing to do with that personal alignment of faith, prayer, the request for favor, and I think that's where the line is drawn.
Okay, let's move on now to the other place. So we can now understand why when you walk into the court, justice is seen to be blind because it doesn't want to see who and the talisman coming in. It's just interested in
Absolutely.
what it just wants facts. My
Absolutely.
Lord is saying it wants facts when you come. Don't bring your talisman. All right, let's go over now to our next story here for us now as we pick up this one before. Okay, let's see. Democracy is what we're picking up, and it's from the Nation newspaper. So we need you to help us make an understanding of this story as someone who gained or a beneficiary of the process is asking for an overall of that process. But let's see the headline. Democracy not working for Africa because it was forced on it. That's former President Olusegun Obasanjo at this point speaking.
Yeah.
Talk to us about this.
Calling him a beneficiary of the process is first bias, I would say, because the truth about it is there is a reason,
Yeah.
there is a basis to
Yes.
question where we are now. And I think we should take the conversation first in that spirit before we criticize, the quality of the comments he made. Um, there's
Yes.
reason to ask. Across Africa, we're unsettled. Even here in Nigeria, we have a record of keeping up to democracy for 20 plus years now, and it's good. But the dividends that are supposed to have been delivered have not been delivered in essence, right? You don't have a people
Okay.
settled in their
We'll come
culture.
back to we'll come back to speak more on
Okay.
democracy in Africa in a bit. If you just joined in, we'd like to get your thoughts on to responding to the headlines we are treating this morning on Freshly Pressed onto 0809-444-0981. Stay with us. I still got Oyeyemi Aderibigbe with me. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa.
Lagos, my name is Buchi Franklin. You're listening to Smooth Breakfast. Are you looking for a reliable way to grow your money? Let me tell you about ARM. ARM is one of the largest non-bank financial institutions with over 29 years of expertise in money management and wealth creation. That's almost 3 decades. ARM is all about ensuring your financial goals are met with ease, no matter who you are. Now, whether it's growing your money in safe, well-managed investments or important goals like school fees, personal development, vacations, rent, buying a property, or preparing for the future, ARM has got you covered. We all know there are a lot of apps out there promising to grow your money, but ARM has everything you need to go from where you are to where you need to be. Start your wealth creation journey today by downloading the ARM One app from the Google Play Store or iOS Store. There are great options for everyone. You even start with as low as 1,000 naira, just 1,000 naira. For more information, visit arm.com.ng or call 01-271-5002. That's 01-271-5002. ARM, let's face tomorrow together.
This is smooth breakfast on your time, just the way you like it. Satisfaction guaranteed.
We're smooth 98.1 FM. It's still freshly pressed, and we're picking up the papers and, of course, getting reactions, how those headlines resonate with you this morning. Let's get your messages to be part of those. I see building up already on 0809-444-0981. Aderibigbe, you were speaking on the Nation newspaper, the headlines of democracy not working for Africa because it was forced on it. That's according to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. So just conclude your thoughts.
Yes, what I was saying was essentially there needs to be an evaluation of what works for Africa, right? In my opinion, whether it is democracy, autocracy, kakistocracy, and all the differences, theocracy, all the systems of government, they're only tools for leadership. They're not the alpha and omega of what goes on. It's the quality of the leaders that make it what it is. Let's take a look at Rwanda, for instance. And I believe that's the kind of model that our former president is probably speaking to, right? Where you have a strong president with great vision who is pushing an agenda. It's because it has worked well for Rwanda that we're excited and we're happy. We have the same model applied in other parts of Africa over 30, 40 years, 50 years, and it has yielded nothing for the people, right? So I agree that government should be customized, to suit the people, but across board globally, democracy still remains one of the best forms of government or best systems of government to deliver the greater good or deliver public goods for the greater number, right? It still remains. We tried so many models. And so as much as we want to speak to the technicality, how it works, I think we should leave that. It's the quality of the leaders who make the system work. President Kagame took something that a lot of other Africans leaders have abused, and he made it work for Rwanda. Who says his replacement or his succession plan would deliver the same quality? We don't know, right? And there are already stress tests that we're seeing to show that it's not wholesome. Even that model is not wholesome, right? I believe the conversation that is to be had in Africa, right, is along the lines of prioritizing our vision, what we want as a people. And I think really, if you check the African heartbeat, Africans just really want to breathe. Africans want expression, right? And so if government steps out of the way and just enables the expression of African people, quality of their communication grows, education, providing basics, education, shelter, and all of that, Africans will bloom. Africans will grow, Africans will flower. Let's look at what is happening in our music industry, in our film industry, and across board, in our tech industry. All of that is built on the quality of the mind of the African. So democracy is an external conversation. I mean, I know if we change it and we said, okay, we had a strong leader with a great vision and he was autocratic and we didn't have them, it doesn't mean that we would be better off, right? We just need our leaders to have better vision. And once vision comes into place, I think we would be, okay. I agree with him that there needs to be evaluation, but I think democracy is still the better option.
But again, this brings us to now let's go to the messenger now, or the speaker, because you had alluded to Paul Kagame in Rwanda. And you talked about how he had used what he's gotten now with a strong vision. And this is where we bring the man now in question and say, when he had the opportunity to, of course, do this and make an alternative to show that it's possible?
Well, the debate is out there about the quality of President Obasanjo's leadership. There are pockets of good and there are pockets of bad. We can point the holes at what he did, but he's our past, right?
Yeah.
He's our past. And I'm not sure we get any benefit from sitting at the altar of his finished works and saying, oh, he did this or did that. We need to look forward and build the next 50 years for Nigeria. And I think that's what our time should be spent doing.
All right, so Aderibigbe, I'll let you rest now, and I'll go over now to Uade Ahimie, who joins us now. Uade, please, the papers are waiting for you, so quickly help us pick up this next paper as you join in. Good morning to you, Uade. Okay. So let's pick up this one. We need you to do this. So in connection with leadership now, so this is Leadership Connected. So go to this one for us. The Tribune says, deficient leadership system responsible for Nigeria's high corruption, according to stakeholders. That's the Tribune. So let's connect it now. Moving away from democracy, leadership. Take it away from there, from where she left off. You would have to come in, so those online would have to see you now. Come in. All right, go on.
Okay, sorry about that. So when you talk about leadership, everybody turns to the leadership system. I don't understand what leadership system is. Leadership is the system on its own is not available. So if the system is not available, you can't produce independently. So when you have a country where systems have been built, so actually saying people who bring either their objects of faith into court rather than
no evidence.
Exactly. So when they say this, you just the summit with the team creating a sustainable Africa to active leadership in development private investing. You want a sustainable Africa, and we're talking about leadership. But the system that builds those leaders, or that should build the leadership system, that should build the leadership, is non-existent. We've seen it in the elections, in the justice system, in the way people go about, like, we're always looking for a Messiah to lead us out of into the promised land, out of Egypt into Israel, and cross us and take us across the Red Sea. But at the end of the day,
Kenya, you're heading to Kenya first.
Okay,
then we're going first.
But at the end of the day, individuals ensuring that those systems are being, people within the system ensuring that the systems are being worked on, and again we are continually improving the system. So it's really more of talk than action, because we haven't seen the action in the last couple of times.
Okay, that's a fine place to pick up messages waiting already. So let's go. Olalekan will leave us a message here saying, ending brain drain is not rocket science. Stop offering them free tuition medical school education, since they are good at using zero tuition education to earn 25,000 US dollars in countries where medical education is expensive. Use the savings to develop the infrastructure and offer them students loans to fund their education. Olalekan left us this message. It seemed like Nigeria grooms medical doctors for the rest of the world very cheaply to come peak at no expense. That's what the message resonates here. And then I'll go over to pick up Tonye's message. And Tonye's message here tells me from Lagos Metropolis, and it says, it comes from me, it says, with what you have seen happening in the judicial system, be honest with yourself. What country would take any lawyer from Nigeria to do what exactly? That's because I had asked Aderibigbe, why is it like it's only doctors who they need abroad?
In defense, we are marketable. The person is probably not
associated.
don't need you.
No, but I agree with that. But let's also remember that.
Yes.
You have to be first and foremost, you have to become an expert where you're going to. But you have that general knowledge. But with the medical system, it's easier to fit into today's global systems of running medicine. So I finished in a university in Nigeria. I spent like 8 or 9 years. at the end of the day, like you said, you plug into new systems and boom,
You're ready to run.
Yeah, the basics are there.
Okay, I'll pick up Adopsy's message. It says, anyone that believes the sound bites coming from this administration is just wasting their hope and time. There is no commensurate action to buttress or reflect what they say. They only like to play to the gallery and say what they want to hear, want you to hear, but will go ahead and do what they want to do. I raced down to get a message in from Remy. Doctors and nurses are almost plug and play elsewhere, like video games. Anyway, I'm bringing it back here. Because human anatomy is the same anywhere else. Head is where it is. The eyes will be where it is. Okay, it's true. Let's go. But lawyers have to learn the Constitution where they have to practice. See that they are not in a hurry to run. You see now? Okay, I see that. Dan Okuda sent me a message here. Says, the truth of the matter is that the average Nigerian has lost faith in our judicial system. The judiciary should redeem itself by ensuring that justice is not only done, but manifestly done. That's Dan Okuda. So that's why the Lord seems to see charms on, in his court these days. Okay. Now I'll pick up a message from Daniel from Festac. He says, what a comment. Are you not patriotic? Are you more patriotic than a doctor? You would fit right into the APC government thinking. You never hold government accountable, but always blame citizens. Patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel. That's from Daniel from Festac. Then let's pick up this next one. Anthony from Francis says this one. The exit of professionals, that's in the health sector in particular, is a sad trend that cannot be controlled right now. The saddest part of it is that we are losing our very best to the syndrome. On the flip side, I believe they've gone for further schooling with modernized equipment and will readily return when a concerned government comes to power. That sounds like the former Minister of Labor there speaking, but that's Tony from Marine Beach who left us with that one. And I'll get this one in from Ajayi Olonilua from Magodo. It says, OBJ's comment is on democracy is inappropriate because we are not even practicing democracy. What we have in Nigeria is more autocracy as our leaders fail to apply the real tenets of democracy in our politics. Ajayi Olonilua sent that one in. Then I would find an Abbas Oladepo who sent in this one saying, is Mr. Obasanjo not a beneficiary of democracy, Aderibigbe? What did he make of his own time as a democratically elected leader, government? It was his period that we had issues of Ghana must go sacks flying into the National Assembly for his third term ambition. Removal of duly elected governors and Senate presidents were his legacies too. Why did he accept to serve after his time in prison? Rwanda should never have been an example of democracy because there is no freedom of political opposition there. And the president has spent decades in office already and might stay there till 2037 or before 2040. But because of high-handedness on political opposition, please, we need to look at these things beyond what we see in the surface. This one is saying what just came out. Let's throw this one in from Yemi from Marina. This one says, great comment by former President Obasanjo. The question lies therein, who or which administration will be trusted enough to propose a new system of government that will be fair to all and not partisan? It is a far-off dream. God bless Nigeria. Yemi from Marina. And I've got a message in from Godwin from Bagada. It is because we are not seeing the dividends of democracy. That's why we are complaining. The man who's complaining did not allow democracy to work in Nigeria. That's still referring to that comment again by OBJ. Now, this one comes in. OBJ is our past and should quietly remain there. Ayo_Lagos sent in that one, resonating your thoughts again, Oyeyemi. One more message. Olalekon, seen you before. Democracy can never work for Africa. Historically, it is not our style. The Arabs have succeeded mostly because they chose their brand of leadership. There we have it. Lots of messages, but hey, time is fast spent. But Shola, I see your message. Chibuzo, I see your message also. I see Olu from Alaka. Idimapuz, I see your messages. Thank you all so much. What a time we had. I would say thank you to Oyeyemi Aderibigbe for your time as always.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amas.
And then I say thank you to Uade Ahimie for your time also.
I think I can stop on your team.
Uade, don't do this. No, come on.
You,
Thomas,
the
if
more
I,
than
if I
that,
could squeeze, if I could squeeze in one comment, we have a
Okay.
very clear example from Malawi where they're facing austere times, and we see the very critical position that the state has taken, banned for the all public officers from leaving town. You know, I think that's what a lot of Nigerians also want to see, and even across Africa.
Thank
So
you.
our government
Thank you
needs
so
to
much.
make more public and strong statements that resonate with our reality.
Aderibigbe for office 2027. That's how we live it here. Thank you so much. My name is
Thank you.
Omatseye
Have a great
Atsenuwa. Good
day.
morning.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Lagos.